So, as I was thinking this week about what I might say that would be a source of comfort, a blessing to you during this time of anxiety and fear and worry and confusion, I kept being drawn to a passage in Ecclesiastes, and that might sound kind of funny, a funny place to go for a benediction, but it's where I was drawn. So let me read this passage. It'll sound very familiar to you, but let me read this to you and maybe uh, explain why I thought it would be a good blessing at this time. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. There's a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Sounds appropriate at this time. A time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And then, after saying that there's a time for all of these different things, remember that Ecclesiastes also says there's nothing new under the sun, that God has seen it all. After listing all these different things that it's a time for, my favorite part of the whole text is in verse 11 where he says, "And he has made everything beautiful in its own time." And I know that it's hard to see now. I know it's hard to envision, but I've got to believe that the hope that we have is that even in this time of anxiety and fear and worry and confusion, that God can still bring beauty out of this, that God makes everything beautiful in its own time. And we may not even be able to envision what that looks like now. I don't know what it might be. It might be that humanity's drawn closer together. It might be that the church just kind of gets refreshed for its mission in the world. I don't know what it is that's going to be beautiful at the end of all this, but I do believe that God can make everything beautiful in its own time, even this. So be blessed with that thought this week.